Welcome to Playing the Big, Beautiful Long Game, where entrepreneurship meets spirituality. In this podcast, we explore the intersection of personal fulfillment, spiritual growth, and business success. This podcast delves into the idea that entrepreneurship is not just about profits or growing businesses. It's also about embracing purpose, meaning, and inner growth. Each episode features conversations with entrepreneurs and thought leaders who share their journeys of building businesses that align with their highest values and deepest calling. I'm your host, Debbie Zita. Sit back, relax, and thank you for being here. Welcome, beautiful Scarlett. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be a guest on your show today.
You're so welcome. Can you please let the audience know who you are and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. So, hello, everybody. My name is Scarlett Stanhope, aka the Biz Hippie, and I am a money and abundance coach. And so, what I do is I help individuals, especially entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, to transform their relationship with money from the inside out. Because so often, money is the thing that holds us back from living the lives we want to live and really doing the work that we want to do. So, I help them shift their mindset around money, get out of scarcity, fear, lack, and step into abundance. And I also help them learn to manage and track their money so that they can be in control of this beautiful resource that is the creator of our lives, so that they can create the abundant lives that they want to live and support themselves financially with the work that they love.
Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. I can see how we are here together having this conversation. We're definitely very aligned in our values. Can you share? Let's go back to the moment that you decided to start this business. And can you walk us through a bit of the journey that you went on?
Yeah, so really, the moment that I started my life coaching business was very unexpected. Prior to that, I was a type A high achiever perfectionist. That's how I grew up. I was a straight A student. I got really great grades, and this bled into my young adulthood. By the time I was 18, I was checking all the success boxes. I was managing restaurants. I had a team of 30 people beneath me who were all older than me, working until 2 a.m., wearing 4-inch heels for 11 hours at a time. I was getting my bachelor's in business management, accounting, and finance, maintaining my 3.9 GPA. I had no credit card debt, no student loans. I was saving money. So I was doing everything right and was very successful. And yet, inside, I felt empty and unfulfilled. I felt like someday I would check enough boxes and I would arrive at some magic finish line that told me I was good enough, that I had done enough, and that finally I could start to live a life that I wanted. But what I realized was that this race would never end, and I was just on a hustle hamster wheel that kept perpetually going. And this caused me to get very burnt out. I was covered head to toe in eczema, had weekly regular migraines. I was depressed. I was in some toxic relationships, and I really had lost who I was and lost my will to live. So that's when I began my own personal growth journey of discovering who am I, what's important to me, and what do I really want if money and success wasn't the thing that I was chasing and basing my life off of. So then I healed in a lot of ways. And 1 month after getting my bachelor's degree, I took a total 180 and got my first life coaching certification. And this is really where the Biz Hippie comes from, because I went from full on biz mode to full on hippie mode. And I just started saying yes to everything that lit me up. I started traveling the world and attending retreats. I became a yoga instructor, a Reiki practitioner. I said yes to any opportunity that would get my business off the ground. And I just floundered around trying to make money as a life coach for about a year. And then 1 year in, I was having a conversation with someone who was really stressed about money. She said, I make good money in my 9 to 5, but I still feel like it's never enough. And every month it feels like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. So how could I ever support myself financially in my coaching business when it feels like I can't even support myself with this other work? And that's when I realized that money was really where I needed to focus, because money was the thing that had really created my downward spiral. And money is the thing that dictates and impacts so many of our lives and really holds us back from doing the work that we're meant to do. So that's when I combined my practical, tangible money skill sets with the deep, transformative life coaching practices that I love and swear by, and started doing the work that I do today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing also about your journey as well. I can very much relate to that. I was just sharing with you off record that my TEDx just came out 2 days ago, and the title is "The Day I Chose to Live." So I
Mm.
can very much relate to that experience of I can't even like which way, where to, and then finding that peace within myself, finding once again what lights me up and what keeps me grounded and living my legacy. So have a look
Yeah.
at that when you can, and I'd love to hear what you think about it. And
Yeah.
let's go back to what lights you up about what you do. Like if you could look at a specific case study, a success story, a client, maybe even one of the retreats that you went on. It doesn't have to be client based, but whatever it is that you go, Deb, I'd love to share this story about what I do.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and I see this with several of my clients time and time again, is watching the moment when they really start to shift out of this sense of scarcity and lack and fear and stress and not enoughness, and start to shift into this sense of safety and stability and having enough. And what's very interesting is I think it's very common in our society that when we're feeling stressed about money, when we feel like we don't have enough, the solution that we work towards is just getting more money and working harder and doing more and thinking that when we bring in more money, that's going to solve all of our problems and we're going to feel different. But what I see is time and time again, this doesn't actually solve your problems. If anything, I notice people end up feeling more stressed as they work harder and hustle more and more burnt out. And even when they're bringing in more money, they still feel exactly the same as they did before. If anything, it has just expanded the problems and expanded the situation. And so I've discovered that abundance is not about an amount of money. It's about your relationship with money. And so I love witnessing my clients having that moment where they deeply realize it. In fact, I just had a client recently who she's actually somebody who's very good with numbers and was somebody who was managing her money, but she just had it in her head that she was never getting ahead. No matter what, no matter how much she made, she just couldn't get ahead, and the goals that she wanted to achieve just weren't for her and were out of reach. But
Mhm.
then when we started working together, she had a huge perspective shift and realized, wait a second, I have more than I think. I can do more with this. I actually am safe. I actually am good. I actually can get ahead and am getting ahead. And her financial situation didn't change, but her perspective on her financial situation changed. And when you have that type of energy and relationship with your money, it impacts your whole entire life.
Yeah, isn't it? It's interesting. I have this thing, and I need to look up what this is called, whether it's connecting into the field or it's intuition. But I had this sense just before we jumped on, just this kind of wave of like this thought or this emotion of like it's never enough. Like whatever it is, there's this feeling of like it's just I need more of it. And I was like, where is that coming from? Like I do work with money with my clients. I've done a lot of work on myself with money, and I'll continue to do so. But it's interesting because I have a sense that it was coming up because it's something that we're talking about actually today. And it's one of those things where it's almost short-lived. Like you'll see it in your bank account and it's like, oh, nervous system can relax. It's there, it's there. And then moments later, whether that's literally a moment or weeks or months, that feeling of just something is off balance, something's not right, something needs to be healed. That I feel like that is what that's the area that you're playing in. It's the essence, the core self. It's getting to the bottom of it and then building back up your relationship with money. Am I understanding you correctly?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think there's two components to this. One is the internal work and the internal side of what's your actual relationship with money, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your patterns. And then there's the tangible side of what's actually happening with your money, learning to see it clearly, to manage it and to track it. And both aspects of this, the tangible and the intangible, the external and internal, are equally as important. And most people are missing one, if not both of these. And when you learn how to do this with your money, when you learn how to feel a sense of stability and safety, no matter what's actually happening with your money, no matter if your bank account's going up and down, because the truth is it's always changing. Money's always flowing. It's
Dynamic.
always moving.
Yeah.
Right. It's not stagnant. And
Yeah.
so when you learn how to feel solid and safe and stable and abundant in the fluctuations of your finances, that also translates into your capacity to hold and experience life and deal with the
True.
volatile, unexpected changes that happen in life all the time. And that's really what abundance is expanding your capacity to hold and experience everything and feeling safe and solid in that so you can fully experience your life.
I love that. Oh, that was a mic drop moment. And then money becomes the vehicle with which we do that. It's not the only thing though, isn't it? It's like that becomes it's part of it's air. We need that. We need to have money to live this physical life. But at the same time, it's about expanding it, growing it, and that relationship with it. I can recall the moment, it sounds funny, but the moment that I realized, oh, it's not stagnant. Like it's not supposed to just stay in the bank account or just like stay there. It's like, no, it's actually supposed to be moving through my hands and going into projects and reinvested back in myself, reinvested back in the business and being okay. And a lot of nervous system resetting, which perhaps we can also talk about that when it does
Hmm.
leave your bank account, but also doing it in a way where for some people, 1,000 leaving is like, oh, and for others, it's all relative, 100,000 or a million leaving is okay, right? So you have to also know what that is for you. Can you share with us, do you have any specific tools that you love to use, especially when it comes to nervous system resetting?
Absolutely. And I love the way that you just described that. And I think the problem is that most of us have an inaccurate picture of our money, and therefore we have an emotional, volatile relationship with our money because the amount of money in your bank account is not an accurate picture of how much money you actually have and what is actually going on with your money. So typically, the standard relationship with money that I see is you open your bank account, you see an amount, you make that amount mean something. And if it's not based on some bar or standard of like, I have to have this much money in my checking account, otherwise it means X, Y, and Z, that I'm going to starve, that I'm going to die, that I'm a failure, that anything, could mean anything. And so we have to address this in two ways. One is the internal work of uncovering what is your money story. I like to teach my clients about what I call the scarcity seeds. These are the common scarce-based beliefs that we adopt from our society and from our families growing up. It's our beliefs about ourselves, the world, and money. And we just accept these beliefs as truth. And from these beliefs, we create different stories about ourselves, the world, and money. And so when we look at the bank account, we are taking these scarcity seeds, we're taking these stories, and we're making the amount of money we see in the bank account mean something about us. The other side of this, when it comes to emotional regulation, is unwinding these stories, uncovering these scarce-based beliefs, and starting to look at them objectively, as opposed to just accepting it as the way life is, like gravity,
Mhm.
starting to question, is this actually true? Is this accurate? Is my story, is my belief system about my money reality, or could there be a new reality? And then on the flip side of that, we also need to learn to see our money clearly, because if you're not seeing your money clearly, that creates a lot of unknown and uncertainty. And that unknown and uncertainty is actually most of the money stress that you are experiencing. And it leaves a lot of room for your brain and to fill in the gaps with all of these stories. So something can happen like an unexpected bill comes out of the blue, or maybe it's not even money related. Maybe someone says something to you and it rubs you the wrong way, and suddenly you'll start feeling stressed about money. But it's really interesting because it's not based on the amount of money you actually have or your ability to deal with that financial situation. It's just based on your emotional response to what you think is happening with your money. So it all comes down to clarity and awareness of your internal beliefs around money and awareness around what is actually going on with your money. And those two things combined allows you to emotionally regulate when it comes to your finances.
Beautiful. Well said, well said. So how can we have a clear picture of our finances? Is part of that looking at our banking app? Is part of it setting our goals? Like maybe can you give us some direction? If someone's listening going, well, what do I do, Scarlett? Like what's the process? I look at my banking app every hour. I look at it once a day, once a week. Like is there a system or a process that you can let us know about?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think looking at your bank account is a really great first step, especially if you're someone that avoids your banking account. Actually taking the time to look at it, see your money, spend time with your money and practice breathing deeply and feeling safe in that. That's a really, really great first step. But again, it's only a snapshot of what's happening in your bank account right now. And because your money is always fluid, it's not an accurate picture. It's kind of like you never step in the same river twice. You open your bank account in one moment, you're seeing a snapshot, and then you open it an hour, a day, a week, a month later, you're going to see a different snapshot. So in the work that I do, I have a tool. It's called a financial blueprint that I teach my clients how to use. And this is a spreadsheet for seeing your money clearly. But the simple version of this is we need to zoom out from the snapshot view of how much is in your bank account, and we need to zoom out to see the month view and say, okay, how much money is actually coming in this month and how much money is actually going out this month? And therefore, how much do I have available? Am I breaking even? Do I have a profit? Am I negative? And that's one picture that we need to consider. And then another picture is the day by day breakdown. So something that I like to show my clients is how to forecast their money and see, okay, based on the amount of money I have in my account today, based on all the transactions that are expected to happen, what is my checking account balance actually going to look like over the next 3 months? And that's such a powerful view to have of your money, and being able to see your account clearly like that, forecasted, can make moving money feel really easy. And you don't have to feel like you're risking everything and gambling when you make big payments to pay off your credit cards or move money from checking to savings. You can trust that everything's going to be okay because it doesn't feel like a guess or a gamble. It's there on paper and you're making choices with your money.
Beautiful. It becomes very real, very concrete, and it's there in black and white.
Exactly.
The only time I guess that would change, and my mind's gone to, because I do predominantly work with entrepreneurs, and there can be a level of inconsistent income with that. So, do you tend to work with entrepreneurs? Do you tend to work with people who are working for someone else? A bit of both?
Yes, I love working with entrepreneurs. I primarily work with entrepreneurs, and I often am helping entrepreneurs transition out of their full-time jobs and into their businesses. And that can be a really challenging transition, especially because entrepreneurship can be so volatile and inconsistent. So, in order to deal with this, we have to plan for the inconsistencies. We have to expect the inconsistencies. So, learning one, the emotional regulation and the internal work of feeling safe and solid and regulated no matter what is very important. It's also important to the success of your business, because if you're feeling stressed and you're bringing scarcity into your business, people can feel it and you will literally block and repel money. So again, that internal work is very vital to the flow of money, especially in entrepreneurship.
Mm.
And then being able to see your money clearly is vital for being an entrepreneur, because especially if you want to be an entrepreneur full time,
Mhm.
because you need to know exactly how much money do you need to support your personal life every single month, and how much money do you need to support and grow the business every single month. And if you know that your work is volatile, then plan for that volatility by knowing how much you need to be bringing in or how much you need to have set aside or saved, so that you don't have to stress out every single time you have a low month. Instead, you know it's coming, you know it's part of entrepreneurship, you know you've set up your money in a way to be prepared for it, so that doesn't need to knock you back into stress, knock you back into scarcity, and then create the downward spiral of blocking money in your business. And instead, you can stay on the upward trajectory of maintaining your sense of safety, maintaining your sense of abundance, and maintaining control over your money and over your life.
Wonderful. I love it so much. I've always been taught to have 3 months worth of savings at least when you're making that switch over from leaving a consistent income job to doing your own thing. And I know there are other people who come from leap of faith. And if you feel it, just jump and the dragon will catch you. And which I probably used to believe in that when I was a lot younger. And now in my 40s, it's like, no, I'm too tired to be caught by a dragon at this stage. I'm quite happy to have my savings there and trust that it's going to work out. But I also respect that everyone comes from different, maps of the world, and we have to connect in with what is right and true for each person. Where do you sit with all of that?
Yeah, I think this is a great question and it's really important. I think that savings can be a really beautiful tool for just alleviating pressure and alleviating stress, especially in business. Because, yes, there's a little bit of that, getting that fire, having that pressure, having that momentum. But also, if you're really dependent on your business to make money, that's really putting a lot of pressure and stress on the business, and that can really bleed into your sales. Like people can feel that. So, the more safe you can feel, the better. That being said, I think that if you're saving money, it needs to be intentionally saved for a purpose. This is different than just hoarding money for the
Mm.
sake of hoarding and hoping that it will create a sense of safety versus being very intentional and saying, yes, this is my 3 months of savings designed specifically for this purpose instead of just saving more, more, and more. And also, something that I work on with my clients is everybody is in a different place. For some people, their priority might be, I need to get out of this job as fast as possible. I'm willing to be risky. I have a high risk tolerance. I'm going to cut all my expenses and just transition as fast as possible
Yep.
with little savings. And
Yep.
other people might say, you know what? I want to maintain my lifestyle. I want to
Mm.
maintain my sense of safety. I'm willing to take my time. I'm willing for it to take longer. And therefore, I'm choosing the more comfortable for me route. And I think what's important is having the tools to be able to create the plan that is most in alignment for you so that you can make the right transition for you and knowing your numbers and seeing your money clearly and doing this emotional work of knowing what is most in alignment for you helps you to do that.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that it's not cookie cutter. It's really unique to each person and understanding what is right, true, and best for each individual. Because sometimes, I know with for myself and also my clients, there are some people that you just, it's been 6, 7 months talking about. I can think I've got one client that was in a mastermind of mine, and she really wanted to, and she had the savings. She was actually okay, but she just kept talking. And one day I was quite firm. I said, "Hey, my love." I don't think I said my love, but let's say my love because I'm not going to say her name. I said, "Hey, my love, I think it's time now." So after today, we're not talking about this in our group coaching environment anymore. And the next week, she went and she left that job, and she's been on her own ever since then. And she thanked me because she needed to be held accountable because 6, 7 months, that's a long time of we know you're okay, and now there needs to be some action. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I think like it's great to create that sense of safety, but also, I see this, it's like the flip side of the coin of never enough. You can think like, oh, I never have enough. I need more and more money. Once I have 3 months of savings, then I'll feel safe. And then you get those 3 months of savings, and then you need another 3 months of savings to
Yeah.
protect the first 3 months of
Yeah.
savings. And it just like keeps going. So, like, yes, creating a sense of safety with your money is an amazing skill set, but also we need to create the internal sense of safety first, where you're able to feel safe and confident no matter what's actually happening with your money or your financial situation, so that you're the one in control of your life instead of letting money be the thing in control of your life.
Yes, and then I'm also thinking, we hear these stories. I haven't met anyone like this, but they'll say, I had $8.30 to my name, and I took out credit cards and I invested in this personal development program, and from there I've built my multi-million dollar business. And sometimes I wonder, is that actually true, or is that a little bit of Instagrammy? But that could be true, and that works for that person. So again, we have to find what is right, true, and best for each individual.
Yeah, and I think with entrepreneurship, there is always going to be inherent risk. And that's part of being an investor, right? You're investing in your business, you're investing in your future with the intention of making future returns. And those returns are
Exactly.
not always guaranteed. So I think in order to be an entrepreneur, you just have to develop a certain level of risk tolerance, especially when being an entrepreneur means investing in yourself in different ways. And I think that's something I practice a ton myself and also teach my clients how to do is how can you expand your capacity to invest in yourself in bigger and bigger ways to feel safe in that and to also guarantee your own returns and your results results so you can feel confident in the decisions that you make with your money.
Yeah, beautiful. Let's switch gears slightly, and I would love to ask you, Scarlett, what self is your favorite and why? And of course, we are referring to the six selves here.
Yeah, this is such a hard question because honestly, I resonate so deeply with all of them. I mean, obviously, they are all parts of me, but when I look at them, I'm really torn somewhere between the legacy self and the valued self. The valued self ties so deeply into my work around money, and I truly believe that money is a powerful tool for creation. It's how we manifest our lives, and once we have a healthy, abundant relationship with our money, we become the manifestors of our lives, and we can really use our money as a tool to not only create the life we want to live, but impact the world and create the world that we want to live. So that valued self is my life's work and is very, very near and dear to my heart. And because of that, this also ties into the legacy self and the part of me that has built an entire business around this work and this legacy of teaching people about their valued self and really cultivating their valued self. So I am my business is my greatest pride and joy. I could spend my every waking hour and sleeping hour thinking about it, and I do, and I have for the past 5 years. So, and it's really fueled by this mission to transform the world by helping someone one day at a time transform their relationship with money.
Beautiful. And we can all see, hear, and feel your passion for what you do, which is magnificent. So keep going. Yeah.
Thank you.
We have one last beautiful question for you, which is what advice do you have for others who are creating a business that serves both the world and their heart?
Absolutely. And my advice, my sincerest advice would be the sooner that you transform your relationship with money, the better. Your relationship with money bleeds into every single area of your life and especially your business because it ties into your sense of safety, it ties into your self-worth, and it ties into your ability to survive and live your life. Your money, like I already said earlier, is a tool for creation. It's how you manifest this life that you're living right now. And so if you have resistance to being in control of your money, if you have a sticky relationship around money, if you feel like you don't have enough, this is impacting your ability to truly live the life you want to live, including the business and the impact that you want to make. So especially if you're in the personal growth field at all, or you've done a lot of personal growth and development, healing your relationship with money is one of the deepest layers of personal growth you can encounter. And when you do that, it's really a next level into creating the life and business that you desire.
Beautifully said. Is there anything else that is on your heart that you would like to share with us?
Well, I want to say thank you so much for having me on your show. It's, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this subject. Money affects all of our lives, and it's so important that we, especially as women as well too, and entrepreneurs, are the ones in control of our money and in control of our lives. And I'll just add, if anyone's listening and is wondering, okay, what's the first step that I can take to start to transform my relationship with money? I have the exact tool for you, and that is a fun free quiz where you can discover your money mindset type and how to work specifically with your money mindset type so that you can step deeper into abundance. It's a quick 2-minute quiz. You can take it on my website, thebizhippie.com/quiz.
Beautiful. And we'll make sure to add any of these links into the show notes as well. Yeah, perfect. Scarlett, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Debbie.
If something in today's episode resonated with you and you're ready for your next step, there are a few ways that we can work together. You can apply to join me inside the 12-month Business Build Mastermind, come along to the Ultimate Activation Live Workshop, book a VIP day, or access a free trial of my Monday meditation and prioritization online session. And if you'd like more personalized guidance, you can also book in for a 60-minute reading or audit. The best way to get in touch with me is to find me on Instagram at Deb_Zita, that's ZITA, or comment on this episode.
The information provided on this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical, health, or financial advice. Always consult with a qualified health professional or financial advisor before making any decisions related to your personal health or finances.